If you're noticing that your handlebar mast or your seat mast are still loose and there's lots of wobble, I want you to check a few things. First thing that you need to check is that the adjustment knob is actually in one of the height position holes and that it's adequately tightened. So you want to tighten that as far as it'll go until it stops and you can't turn it anymore. If you've checked that and that's okay, the next thing you need to make sure is that you have the correct adjustment knob in the correct hole. So if you look at your adjustment knobs, you'll notice that there are two lengths. One has a longer amount of threads and another one has shorter amount of threads. The knob with the shorter amount of threads goes into the front and the one with the longer amount of threads goes into the back. If you've checked your knobs and they're okay and they're in the correct side of the bike, the next thing you need to check is that the hardware between the handlebars and the mast, so connecting the two pieces, is tightened properly. Sometimes these things get used, especially if they're being used by students over the course of the year. So you want to double check that. If you have a unit with a workstation, you're going to need to remove that first, then the top cap, and then the hardware will be exposed underneath. Okay, so if you need to access the hardware that fastens the handlebars to the mast because you're experiencing wobbliness, what you're going to need is a 10mm wrench. So this is the double-sided one that we include with the bike. If you don't have that, you can just use like a crescent wrench like you see here. If you don't have a crescent wrench that's 10mm, you can always use a pair of pliers or an adjustable wrench or something. So first thing you're going to do is loosen these this hardware underneath here. So taking your wrench and just loosening here and doing the same on the other side. Okay, so the next step, I've got my desktop removed. So now I'm going to actually remove the bracket here. So what you're going to need is your 10mm wrench or pliers, whatever you have, and you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver. And what you're going to do is take the Phillips screwdriver on the top. There are 3 screws on top and 3 nuts underneath. You're going to take the wrench underneath and you're just going to loosen that. And you're going to need to loosen them all the way and remove them. All right, so we have our bracket removed now. So we're going to lift this cap off and that's going to expose the hardware. And this is what's connecting our handlebar to the mast underneath. So you're going to take the Allen key that was included in your kit and you're just going to tighten as much as needed. And that should get rid of the wobbliness that you're experiencing with your bike. Okay, now that you have these 4 hardware points tightened, you can go ahead and reassemble everything that you've removed. So put your cap back on, put the bracket back on, and put your platform